ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। From Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text number 10. Uttara पाहि पाहि महायोगिन देव देव जगत्पते, नान्यं त्वत् अभयं पश्ये यत्र मृत्युः परस्परम. Uttara said, O Lord of the Lords, Lord of the universe, pahi pahi mahayogin, deva deva jagatpate, you are the worshipable of the worshipped, you are the greatest of the mystics. Nanyam tvat abhayam pashye yatra mrityu parasparam. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. So this is how devotees approach when they are in difficulties to the Lord. Here Uttara, she is fearful what will happen to the child within her room. So she is running and coming towards Krishna, please help me. She is asking, Pahi Pahi, Pahiman means please protect me. Mahayogin, because Krishna is the greatest yogi, is the greatest mystic. Deva Deva Jagatpate, Supreme Lord Krishna, he is Jagatpati, Jagannatha. He is the one who can protect us in any kind of suffering. Na anyam. Na anyam means na anyam. There is nobody else. Abhayam, who can give us fearlessness. So this world is full of duality, because there is matter and spirit. So in this world duality, everyone is envious of all others. Even if suppose somebody is well situated, there will be others who will be envying him. They will be thinking how this person is enjoying so much without difficulty. More than their difficulties, people are worried why they are happy, why they are not getting any suffering, why sufferings always for us. So this is the nature of the world. The Lord is the only shelter for fearlessness for the surrendered souls. No one can save himself from the cruel hands of death in the material world without having surrendered himself at the lotus feet of the Lord. In this world, either there is a disease or there is a success in life, there is always somebody who is troubling us. So these kind of sufferings which comes from our own mind and our own body, these are one of the three kinds of miseries which a living entity undergoes. That is called as Adhyatmika Klesha. Adhyatmika Kleshas are sufferings which are coming from our body and mind. This comes from our own bad karma. In Nectar of Devotion we see how there are sinful activities which are already fructified. They are called prarabdha karma, means already we have done some sinful activities in the past and they were in seed stage. Slowly it will grow, it will become big. There are some seeds within our heart Papa Bijas, they are still waiting, and tomorrow that sinful activity of what we have done, it will come out later. But all these things are eradicated, everything can be removed when we take up to devotion to the Supreme Lord. By taking to devotion, in the Nectar of Devotion it is said how by taking to devotion, immediately one gets out of all the sufferings. Basically, when we are suffering in this material world, we require some kind of mercy, and this mercy can come when we take pure devotional service. And the pure devotional service brings immediate relief from all kinds of material distress. We get immediate relief from all kind of material distress. And pure devotional service is the beginning of all auspiciousness. Pure devotional service automatically puts one in transcendental pleasure. Pure devotional service is rarely achieved, and those in pure devotional service deride even the conception of liberation. So among this, the immediate relief from all kinds of material distress, when somebody takes to devotion, then these effects, there are 4 kinds of effects due to sinful activities. The effect which is not yet fructified, actually, as we were telling, the effect which is still lying as a seed, the effect which is already mature, and the effect which is almost mature. So it is all stated that all these 4 effects immediately are vanquished for those who are surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. So this is a blessings for devotees, because the Sanskrit word kutam means they are almost ready to produce the seed, effect of the seed, the immature effect. From the statement of Padma Purana, it is understood that the material contamination is very, very subtle. It is beginning, and its results, how one suffers such results in the form of distress, are a part of a great chain. So we don't know how we get disease. Sometimes how we got this disease, especially the present situation, nobody knows how the disease will come, sometimes by air, sometimes by water. So if actually it takes time in the medical field, that's why they say you take some precautionary measures so that you will not get into some disease. So in this connection, we see how Ajamila, he was a very fine and dutiful Brahmana, but in his young man, he became corrupted by a prostitute. But at the end of his life, he just called the name of Narayana. So he had followed some austerity in his childhood. So this actually helped him to come out of sinful activities. So this sinful desire can be removed only by achieving Krishna consciousness or spiritual consciousness, and this can be very much easily accomplished when you become devotee, actually. Otherwise, it is very difficult. When we take to devotional service, sometimes people ask, you people have taken to devotion, maybe you have some secrets how to manage your lust and greed, but for us it is very difficult. The secret lies in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is saying that how, when you take to devotion, all our sinful activities or sinful life starts because of ignorance. Lust, greed, everything comes because of ignorance. But this ignorance can be immediately removed, just like in the forest fire. There are 4-legged animals who will be running, some birds will be flying, and they will at least try to escape. But the snakes are immediately killed because they have to go down only. There are many snakes on the ground of the forest when a fire takes place. It burns the dried foliage and the snakes are immediately attacked. Similarly, the blazing fire of Krishna consciousness is so strong that the snakes of ignorance are immediately killed. So, all our ignorance can be killed. We don't have to worry about lust, greed. Everything will be removed if you take to devotion of the Lord. This is practical science. You will see in your heart a kind of happiness, and that happiness is all auspiciousness. And we don't have to worry what will happen. And there are happiness, that happiness can come by material enjoyment. Happiness can come by feeling that I have become one with God, and happiness can come by fully surrendering to the Lord. So when you achieve the happiness by surrendering to the Lord, all other happiness will appear to be tucham. So the Lord can give us abhayam, fearlessness, and He can give us happiness, whatever condition we are in. And the devotees are not worried what will happen to them. That is a quality of devotion. When we take up to devotion, devotees get a confidence in their life that everything will be taken care by the Lord. So here foolishly people who are enamored by glimmer of modern materials advancement are thinking that this devotion is for less intelligent people, because I can somehow or the other survive. They don't know how to survive. That's why they are talking philosophy. But we know how to survive very well. I know how to earn money. I know how to enjoy sense gratification. I know how to cheat people and escape. But how long you will be, sir? You will be kicked out of this body, either by disease or by, even if you are very healthy, but when time passes, you become old and you have to leave this body. So the temporary comforts of the body are not the goal of life. We think that if I can achieve my educational certification, or I get some business offer, that is my goal of life. There are many people who are being given good beds, who because of high influence, and they are able to pay more money because they can afford such big beds. They are ready to spend 50,000 rupees, 75,000 rupees per day. People who have a lot of money. But after some time, when they are sleeping on the bed, after all it is a medical hospital, you are surrounded by people who are coming and giving you injections. You may have a nice glass doors and nice lightings, maybe AC room and television in front of you, but nobody to talk to you, to share with you. So happiness does not mean by how costly bed you are sleeping. Happiness comes by sharing, by relationship. So relationship, who will be there with you? You may be healthy. People who are very, very close to you, from your childhood, by your friends, your most dear people would have left you. So when you lose your dear and near people, what kind of happiness a costly bed can give? What kind of happiness only an injection can give you? And the plastic decorations around you may please us for just few minutes, but after that there is only suffering. So even artificial way of life, in this way actually, it is said that how the advancement of a material knowledge renders a person more foolish, because it causes one to forget his real identity by its glimmer. This is doom for him, because they feel that okay, maybe I will be happy. It gives a false hope, because human form of life is meant for getting out of material contamination. But it is promoted that by having a good hospital, by getting a costly bed, your life is successful. What is successful? You can successfully die in a good hospital. Whatever you are dying, you have to anyway die. So we are not saying that one should not have a hospital or one should not take treatment. That is not what is being discussed here. It is saying false hope which one gets in their life because they have no hope of being liberated from this catastrophe. So, the devotion of the Lord, how devotees pray, it is mentioned how devotees are in submission, just like here Mother Uttara is praying, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, Pahi Pahi, please protect me, please protect me. That is the mood. They are not in the mood that, oh, why God, why you are not protecting me? I have offered so many prayers to you. Still you are not protecting me. I don't want you. I don't want this kind of God. I have asked so many ways and I have put prayers, I have offered pujas, I have paid big donations to temples. So this God is useless. So that is not the way of submission. The submission in the Skanda Purana, actually it is mentioned what is submission unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Just like how the devotees are so feelingly they ask to the Lord, like she is asking, Pahi Pahi, please protect me. So here we see how there are three ways, it is mentioned in the Puranas, there are three ways, and the one of the way is very feelingly offering prayers. We are asking prarthana with lot of submissive feeling, very feelingly. The second one is humbly submitting oneself. And the third one is desiring some perfectional stage. So these are the three ways of offering prayers very submissively. So how the first one is how feelings are exhibited to the Lord. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement of submission in feeling. When we are going to the Lord, you have to be submissive. We cannot go and show knife and say, God, if you don't give, I will cut off my neck. This is also the way the Asuras try to do this, that they try to cut their body, and it is said that that gives suffering to the Paramatma in the heart. When you torture yourself, not that the Lord will be very happy. You have to please the Lord the way the Lord wants to be pleased, not the way by torturing our body. You have to be submissive. And here three ways are mentioned, and the first one is very feelingly offering prayers. And the Padma Purana, the devotees are praying. How they are praying? My Lord, I know that young girls have natural affection for young boys, and the young boys have natural affection for young girls. I am praying at your lotus feet that my mind may become attracted unto you in the same spontaneous way. This is a feeling prayer a devotee is offering, that when a young boy sees opposite gender, they automatically get attraction. And without any training, there is a natural attraction. So this is a material example, but the devotee is praying so that he may get this similar spontaneous attachment to the Lord. So this natural attraction for the Lord is a perfectional stage for self-realization. So in the same Padma Purana, there is one more submission. Here we are reading that there are very feelingly offering prayers. And one more, humbly submitting oneself. So in the Padma Purana, there are for both things, how by submission, and one is by humbleness, submission by humbleness. It is said, my dear Lord, there is no sinful living entity who is more sinner than myself. It's not that when we go to the Lord, we say, I am such a great devotee. A devotee realizes how fallen they are. Not that the devotees are fallen. But when a devotee is in a fallen stage, he doesn't take a stage of that I am a very elevated devotee. He actually goes and asks nor is there a greater offender than myself. I am so greatly sinful and offensive that when I come to confess my sinful activities before you, I am ashamed. And this is a natural position for a devotee. As far as the conditioned soul is concerned, there is no wonder that he has some sinful activities in his past life. And this should be admitted and confessed before the Lord. As soon as this is done, the Lord excuses the sincere devotee. See, this is how the devotee becomes submissive and expresses what and all sinful activities he has performed in his past. See, the secret of devotional life is to share everything with the most dearest. The most dearest person is the Supreme Lord. He is there for us and He will help us in all situations. And we have to go to Him and ask Him, see, I have done this kind of particular sin. We remember from our past, we were sharing recently how in childhood, everybody would have stolen something. So they were sharing their experiences, and one person was saying how fortunate we are that when we do some mistake, there are people who can help us to come out of that mistake. They are well-wishers. And parents are our best well-wishers. I also remember in childhood when in association, children, when we are all 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you come across some people who can put a papa bija or a wrong desire in you. See, in a group of children, one senior child planned to take mango from the cart when it comes in front of the school. And that was taught to all children because the cart is covered by a lot of children, school children, to take, give me mango, cut mango, give me this. At that time, these children are not even the height of a cart. So they can keep their small hand and pick up one mango. So influenced by this, I remember 2-3 children in our street all tried to take mangoes. Next day, when it came to the neighborhood and in the grocery shop, when these children had gone, they picked up some tomatoes from the grocery shop and showed as success to the parents in the house. The parents were very angry. They said that you are meant for stealing. Maybe the shopkeeper has seen you, but because he is my friend, they have not told you anything. Better go and return back and come back. So these children started shivering. If I go, what will happen? They may scold. So they sent some elderly children among with them, these younger children who are 5-6 years old or 7 years old. So they took them to that marketplace and took back the tomatoes from the basket and kept it back. This memory is fresh even today. I remember what happened that day to all the children that day. So, who is the well-wisher who has told to go and return back? You have done a mistake, now don't do it. So, after that, the whole life, 7 years, now those children will be all 40 years, 45 years old. But not even one child will do that mistake now, because the well-wishers protected that day. So to do a sinful activity is because of ignorance. The person, the elderly boy who thought how to steal, he actually was influenced by one person who was working in the office there, one elderly person. And he told them that you don't worry, when you go to God, you say that you are a sinful person. Then you take a dip in water when you go to any holy place. Then all your sinful activities will be removed. So there is no problem. You can go and steal anything. So this is a wrong advice given by an outsider. Whereas a family person, they know they are real well-wishers and they advise how you should not do sinful activity. So when you are going and submitting any activity, you should go to a well-wisher. The Supreme Lord is a ever well-wisher of all the living entities. And we would have done sinful activities which we remember. Some sinful activities may be excused even in a general sense, some small stealing or something. Some things may be very abominable. So any kind of sinful activities which are civil, criminal, or whatever you have done harm for others, or you have done with great amount of greed and lust, all these things, when you submit to the Supreme Lord, very in a humble mood, the Padma Purana is saying, my dear Lord, there is no sinful living entity who is more of a sinner than myself. A sincere soul really goes and submits. There is no person more sinner than me. They are not thinking that, oh, they also have done some sin, I have also done sin, my sin is lesser than them. They are feeling, their sincerity means it should come from within, that there is no person sinful than me. My Lord, there is no sinful entity, nor is there a greater offender than myself. Offender means we go and offend the other living entity, and I am so gratefully sinful and offensive. When I come to confess my sinful activities before you, I am ashamed. We have to feel ashamed. Animal life, they don't have any shame. That's why that curse of Narada Muni to the two sons of Kubera, they were not wearing any dress. They are from heavenly planets. And they were trying to enjoy with the damsels of the heavenly women. When Narada Muni saw them, he felt very compassionate, because they are sons of a great man. They have a lot of money, but they have got carried away. We should feel shameful when you have got this form of body with a higher consciousness, human form of body. We don't see animals are having tailored clothes, nor they have intelligence to make such clothes. Human being is given intelligence, not only to wear clothes, but to feel shameful for whatever we do, anything wrong in our life. Just by wearing gentleman dress or by wearing casual clothes and being attractive does not mean that we have got high character. The character of our life is how we behave, how we are in our consciousness. That forms the character of a living entity. And especially in the human form of life, our character should be in such a way that we should feel shameful when we indulge his body for sense gratification and for wrong things. We should feel shameful. Not that we are more modern. So modern days, the advancement nowadays is they are developing nudie clubs. In the Western world, especially, there are a lot of nudie clubs, and innocent women, for money's sake, they have to dress cabaret dance, half naked, all such kind of things should they advertise. And this even old people, young people, everybody go there, exploit women. They may be doing for money or for some passion, whatever way. But this kind of activity, when a man engages, he should feel shameful. He should not feel proud. Oh, I have enjoyed 10 women, 20 women, 30 women. He should feel ashamed. And when we go and confess, the Lord excuses the sincere devotee. If you are sincere, that does not mean that one should take advantage of Lord's causeless mercy and expect to be excused over and over again. Now you are having a habit of seeing some porn videos. A young college boy having addicted to some porn movies, some dirty movies, or a elderly man who has got conditioned to watch some dirty movies. So he realizes by satsang, by spiritual association, that this is bad. Please don't continue it. So they come, meet devotees, they pray to the Lord, and the devotees advise, don't worry, past is past, you forget. You pray to the Lord sincerely, you chant Hare Krishna mantra, you give up this. So they feel, yeah, this is a mistake, I should not have done, and they give it up. But habit, suddenly again when some message pops out and it comes out, oh, this is a wonderful some movie. Again they go and do it. Again they go and confess, oh, I have done mistake. I am sorry, Swamiji, I am sorry, Prabhuji, please. I don't know why I am doing this. Means there is some sincerity, otherwise why they are going and confessing. So 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, actually they can come out of it. A sincere soul, when they are trying to come out of any kind of mistakes, the Lord is very merciful. The Lord is very merciful and He definitely helps. But there are people who have taken religion or spirituality for the sake of escaping sin, or Prabhupada gives and our Acharya gives a nice example that one person is smoking ganja and he doesn't want to make his hand dirty, smell will come. Somebody will come to know that I am smoking. So he will take his friend's hand and then take a smoke or a ganja. So to show that I am not doing, use somebody else to do that same work, and you take that enjoyment, sense enjoyment. That is sinful. You cannot cheat God, because God can cheat more better than you. So it is said that a mentality, if a person commits sinful activities by weakness, the Lord excuses. He gives strength. He gives devotees to help us. He gives all kind of help externally and internally to come out of it. The only requirement is sincerity. A person should be very sincere. Weakness can be easily overcome. But you should be a sincere person, because you should understand the world will end. You cannot continue in this body permanently. Something will happen to you sooner or later. If you want to continue for 50 years, 60 years, 80 years or 100 years still, how long you can enjoy this sexual life? You will become old. You will die. How long you want to enjoy? How long you want to be seeing young girls as your girlfriends whole life? They become your daughter, they become your granddaughter. But whole life you have to be shameless. You have to be watching them lustifully. You cannot come out of it, and your body has become weak. So it requires spiritual realization. You have to understand you are not this body. For that you have to accept Bhagavad Gita, and then you understand this. Then when you go to confess, now I am ashamed. So if a person is not ashamed and continues to commit the same sinful activities, that the Lord will excuse him, that is a most nonsensical proposition. Such an idea is not accepted in any part of the Vedic literature. A person, they cannot think that I can go on doing all nonsense, but the Lord will excuse me because I am now going to temple once in a while, or I am going to church. So someone may think, for a whole week I have done sinful activities, one day I will go to temple. So on that day, okay, all my sinful activities have gone. So this is compared to be like an elephant taking bath, and then it goes, takes some sand and puts it on its back. So people may go to Ganges to take bath, that all my sinful activities have to be removed, and actually it is removed. But the moment he is still coming out itself, he has a lot of sinful activities generating. Because it is not a purified heart. You are just trying to clear your legal account of punya and papa. So the devotee says, my dear Lord, when shall the day come when you will ask me to do your seva, to fan your body, chamara seva? That's why the deity services we do. We offer the Lord the fan, the chamara. The idea in this verse is the devotee is desiring to personally serve the Lord. So this kind of feelings, by to serve the Lord personally, is called lalasamayi. So this is also a submissive feeling. So the Lord, oh my dear Lord, one should feelingly pray and become eager to render his particular type of service. This is what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching his devotees. One should learn how to cry for the Lord. If you see nowadays, our whole life, we are working only for our body and connected people around the body, our so-called friends, our so-called relatives. But can you cry for the Lord's mission? When the Lord's devotees, when the Lord wants to change this world, so are we ready to go and cry for the Lord's, as a Lord's representative? We cry only for us to get money, for my body and my body relatives to get money. When we are able to cry for the sake of the Lord's services, the Lord has a purpose in this world. He comes to this world and He sends His representatives to remove people from the suffering, who are thinking that I am this body, they are suffering. So when a devotee comes, he represents the Lord. He spends money for that purposes. All the social activities which are connected to a devotional organization, including giving food, giving shelter, giving medical need, everything are meant for people to connect them to spiritual life. Somewhere for them to understand, I am not this body. They are not meant for people to, okay, I am serving you. So they eat the food, and after that, when they become strong, not that their thoughts, they become more sinful, and then they go and attack other people and more do crime. Our idea of helping a person is to purify his heart. When you have to purify the heart, you have to give him food, you have to give him shelter, you have to give him cloth, you may have to give some medical help. But that is not all in all. You have to give him good consciousness. Otherwise, he will harm others. If a heart is not pure, he will go and harm a child, he will harm a woman, he will harm old people. So what is the use just feeding a person's sinful activity, sinful mind, sinful body? So we have to know how to feed a person's soul by giving him the Lord's remnants of prasadam with higher consciousness. And when we are helping them, bring them awareness how God is the only provider and we are his part and parcel, and whatever help we are getting, not that when people go and pray, oh God, give me my daily bread, and there were some people who are coming and distributing, where is God? I am giving you. So you have to treat me as your well-wisher, not God. Without God, how grains came, how medicines came, everything is the mercy of the Lord. We can make in factory tires, but if you have to make bread in the factory, you require wheat. When you require grains and other ingredients, raw materials, it is being supplied by the mercy of nature. And how nature has come? By the mercy of the Lord. Sunlight is there, moonlight is there, how vegetation happens, how rain is coming. So all these things are above our control, not in our control. So when a devotee helps somebody, he doesn't take credit that I am doing everything. Even when somebody is becoming a spiritualist, if he starts recognizing among his followers, keeping away the recognition to God and making themselves feel that I am more important, you should respect me more than God. You should respect me more than the previous acharyas. You should respect me more than the humble souls. Then there is some problem in his spirituality, because he is trying to take puja, labha, pratishtha. Means you are taking to take reverence from others. You want to be worshipped by others. You are not giving the position. You are not giving the mercy which has to be given. So this is what submissive souls differ from such kind of self-promotion persons. So in other words, it is that one should learn how to cry for the Lord. Should know how to cry for the Lord. One should learn this small technique. This is a technique actually. People all ask techniques, and this technique is, and you should be very eager and actually cry to become engaged in some particular type of service. We all have some kind of talent. By our own, we have taken birth, so we have some talent in talking or in cooking or in technology or by getting some financial resources or by influencing others. We have some kind of talent which everybody gets in our life. So when we have the talent, we should use the talent for helping others. And the technique is here, we should be very, very eager and actually try to become engaged in some particular type of service. What is that service? What you are good in. Whatever you are good in, you should be able to engage that technology or whatever art you are having in service of the Lord. And we should be praying, oh Lord, let me be able to engage some seva. I have got some kind of talent. Not that I keep all my money, my talent only for my bodily connected or mind connected or physically connected people, and all others should suffer. So that is selfishness. Here when we pray for that, let me be engaged in particular kind of service, this technique when you apply, so this tears are the price for highest perfection. You get highest perfection with small tears. And what are the tears? What are you asking with the Lord? You already have got something by birth. So why should I not use that for the service of the Lord? That's all you are asking. And otherwise there is no material calculation for the value of the ticket by which one can enter the kingdom of God. So there is a technique. And by the technique what you will get? You will get a ticket to go back to Godhead. So people all want to purchase ticket to go to other countries, and there what will be a price you have to show. If you have to go to some countries from India, you have to show how much bank account you are having, because you are going to a country where you have to spend more money. So they will see whether you are having proper money, whether you will go there and you will settle there, or you will be able to come back. They will see whether you are having that much money capacity to go and come back. So here, for us, what is the ticket price to go back to Godhead? Our ticket price is very simple. You have to having a desire to go back to Godhead. And with that desire, you should have small technique. What is the technique? You should learn how to cry for the Lord, and you should learn how to be very eagerness. This eagerness is very, very important aspect. In this regard, one simple story Srila Prabhupada explains in one of the classes, that how there was one thief who was sitting in one pravachan in Bhagavatam class, which was taken by a professional reciter. And that professional reciter was explaining how that there is a young boy who moves around in Vrindavan with his cows, and he has lot of jewels on his body. And when he is moving with his jewels on his body, he is alone, and with his friends he is moving around. So he got very, very much eager, and he was very curious, and he inquired, where is Vrindavan? And he actually went to Vrindavan, and because of his eagerness, he saw actually Krishna. Krishna appeared in front of him as a small child. And this thief, he went and asked, Krishna, you are such a nice boy. Why don't you give your jewels? So he was trying to flatter Krishna. So Krishna also was playing like a child. He said, no, these jewels, if I give, my mother will scold me. But later, he saw that the thief was already purified, and that came because he saw Krishna face to face, and that came because of the eagerness. And that eagerness doesn't come so easily. It takes life together to come. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matihi. This Krishna consciousness, this word was coined by our Acharya from this word Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Matihi, means Krishna consciousness. Kriyatam api kutobhya labhyate. It's not so easy to available. Janma koti sukritir na labhyate. This laulyam is the only mulyam. This laulyam means this eagerness, this greediness to see Krishna. I want to somehow go. I want to see him. This laulyam lalasa mahi. This desire is required. And the only price for such entrance is this laulyam lalasa mahi, or desire and great eagerness. So we have to be praying to the Lord constantly in all our day-to-day life, in our struggle for existence. We have our struggle for existence either in form of disease, or in our profession, or in our relationships. Instead of going and just sharing with your friends I am having so many problems, I don't know what to do, and get frustrated. You should share with the well-wishers of the Supreme Lord who can actually help you. Or if you are able to do, you can directly go and approach the Supreme Lord. Generally, it is recommended you have to go through an acharya with a pure devotee. Even the other devotees, they help you to go in that path. They'll connect you to a pure acharya, a pure devotee. So if you are able to do that, in all our struggle for existence, when we are having any problem, when we run and go, just like here in this shloka in the Bhagavatam, we are here reading in the first canto, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin. So she is asking, O Lord of the Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of the mystics, please protect me. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. Nobody can save us. Really, nobody can save us. Doctor can save us for some years by supplying oxygen or by giving us some medicines. They may give us some immunity kits. So devotees are not foolish not to take all this medical treatment and die. They should take properly all the precautions. Not that you say, I am being protected by the Lord, and you show carelessness and then blame the Lord. So devotees have to become more and more serious. If they have to practice spiritual life, they should know how to protect themselves first. They should know how to eat food in a regulative manner. And somebody may not be taking food properly. They require to take more food and take required medicines wherever required. Sometimes fasting is called as a good medicine. For some people, only fasting is not sufficient. They have to eat nicely, nutritious food. So there are various means. So the devotee doesn't neglect anything if it is for the service of the Lord. Like sometimes there is a doubt, people ask, can I go and take this medicine? Can I go and take vaccination? You judge what is good for you. If it is required, if you feel that is good, that is required, you should take. If you feel that you will be able to have more healthy, then you should have more healthy methods. Like people don't even get up from their bed and walk. They are always on their office table. And suddenly they want to use Vedic life, natural treatments. I am an anti-modern science person. I respect natural methods, Ayurveda. That time they remember all the natural methods. But the natural methods means you should keep your body fit by taking proper nutrition, not only in 1 week. You should have done that earlier also. So, either case, devotees don't neglect their life, especially because this life is so important for us. And when we have taken shelter of the Lord, He is the one who can protect us and help us from the clutches of death. And our death, we don't want to be dying again and again, because this body we give up, again one more body we get. Dehinosmin yatha dehe, again one more body you get. And we don't want that body means, then you have to go to the Lord, where you will not be again getting this material body. At least for that sake, devotees should be sincere that now I have got a human form of body, why should I neglect it? For little name, fame, or let me die now, I am fed up of this world. Actually, desire is for enjoying. Just like grapes are sour. When we see on the tree grapes are sour, When we don't get that in childhood, we would have read a fox or a jackal had gone and it saw the grapes were there on the tree and it jumped and it could never get. After that it said the grapes are sour and it left. So our idea should not be like that. Grapes may be sour for the fox or a jackal, but for us, when we are trying to neglect some material life, we want that material life, but when we don't get it, we will say, oh, it is not there, God is not there, or that is bitter, that material life is bitter. So material life is bitter when you are able to enjoy spiritual life. Not that you don't get, so that's why my material life is bitter. So enjoy spiritual life, then make your material life better. Enjoy spiritual life, then you make your material life better. Without enjoying spiritual life, you have a material life in a regulated manner. Regulated life can help us from get out of all kind of sufferings, both material and spiritual. So we have to know this, and the Lord is the only shelter of fearlessness for the surrendered soul. This material world is full of fear. So that's why there is a famous song, it is mentioned, Bhajavore mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. When you chant the names of the Lord within our mind, then Abhaya Charanara Vindare, we get his lotus feet, and that lotus feet actually is meant for giving fearlessness for the devotees. So we have to take this as a lesson, and just like the previous devotees in the Bhagavatam, we are seeing how not only Mother Uttara, to say Parikshit within the womb, she is praying. We have heard how Draupadi, so much she was crying for the Lord, for help, because only the Lord can help. Her husbands were in front of them. Her only, they were all very powerful, but they could not do anything. When Mother Uttara is running and coming to Krishna, when Brahmastra is put by Ashwatthama, all the Pandavas try to take their weapon, but actually it is not so easy, because immediately the Brahmastra is coming directly to hit the child within the womb. So in any circumstances, devotee, they know my material prowess cannot do anything, because by that I can maybe save some time, not all times. So devotee knows the first protection is the Lord. Then comes with, because I am taking protection of the Lord, all the other resources what I am having, I use it for the service of the Lord. That's how we do. So here we have seen how the Lord is worshipable, the Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon the Lord is especially looked after by the Lord. Just like a child is crying and mother will first come and pick up the child, because the child wants attention of the mother. So the father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the father. So let us be a dependent children in the hands of the Supreme Lord. That will give us protection. This is the secret of submissiveness. When you are submissive to the Lord, in whatever the three ways we have seen, we get extreme protection of the Lord. We'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki.